and welcome to another episode of Strictly Healthy. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to be busting some myths regarding various health issues, etc. So today we will be sharing things like myths about fat, and we're doing actually a series for over the next 4 weeks. So today will be about fat and things that questions that people have, like would eating fat make me fat, or would eating fat even make me skinny? That's some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. And to help me with this is Patricia Barman. Thank you, Patricia. I gotta unmute you there. Thank you for joining us today. And Patricia is a wellness advocate, and she knows quite a bit about health, etc. And you're going to be sharing some of those myths and tips for us today. So, as I said, we're doing a series over the next 4 weeks or so. Today is part 1, myth about fats. So, you're going to share a couple of lies that people have been told. So if you'd like to do that, that'd be lovely.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Linda, for having me on. I always enjoy pairing up with you. And yes, a couple of big lies that we're told is eating fat will make me fat. Not eating fat will make me skinny.
Yes. Yeah, those are a couple of things. So, well, tell us then, what is the truth about it then? What should we be doing? Should we eat fat? And, and what kind of fat should we be eating? Can you share some of your tips with us?
That's a great point. Yes. So if we consider that our brains are 60% fat, that sort of makes fat worth considering. Scientists are seeing that low-fat diets are increasing the risk of dementia.
Interesting.
And bad fat affects memory and cognitive function. So yes, fat's important, but as you pointed out, what type of fat? So then we look at our body, and our cellular integrity and nutrient exchange depend on fat. So cholesterol, unsaturated fats, saturated fats all play crucial roles in these vital processes. So then how did we get here with all this confusion? And why are we so fixated still on no-fat, low-fat diets? Well, it's been accumulating for a long, long time. There's several reasons for it, but there was a pivotal moment. In 1955, President Eisenhower experienced a heart attack. Of course, that was in America. I was 4 years old at the time, and you could probably tell from my accent, I'm American. So I was in America then. And heart attacks were enemy number one. My grandmother, I was very close to my grandmother and spent a lot of time with her, and she was always on the verge of a heart attack. And cancer was not even a word. It was all heart attack. So sort of think about that for a minute.
Yes.
Well, so Eisenhower had experienced a heart attack, and a biologist / opportunist named Ansel Keys, also an American, announced that fat caused Eisenhower's heart attack.
He thought that.
No, well, that's what he told everyone. So he and corporate food producers decided people needed to eat low-fat, non-fat diets. And interestingly, he also had a solution. Okay, so think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So chemists at Procter & Gamble, who had discovered cottonseed oil, which had been used for candle and soap making, could be hydrogenated, which turned it into a solid. This solid resembled animal fat, so people could identify with it. It looked like lard. And so Crisco was born. Now, Crisco is a trade name for it. You're probably familiar with it, being from Canada. Maybe yes. Some of our audience is obviously British. Crisco is a trade name, but there must be an equivalent artificial vegetable oil based lard.
Indeed.
Now, lard, Crisco replaced lard because it had a long shelf life. It could be used for baking, frying. It was versatile. But to help people with this transition to this new way of cooking, Procter and Gamble kindly made a Crisco cookbook, and they gave it away for free to help people. And then margarine was its first cousin, to which flavoring and color was added to make it look and taste like butter. So it was the healthier option, or so we were told.
Yes.
Now, but charting the results found that heart disease increased at a rapid rate, but people were still told to continue eating the vegetable oils, including margarine, which they did. Procter and Gamble blamed natural fats for the increase in heart disease. So we did as we were told. Big pharma, doctors, food producers all profited, but the people lost. Now, the recorded stats show, because this is, several decades later, that 2% of trans fats consumed increase heart disease by 23%.
Goodness me.
Increased consumption of trans fats, only 2%, increases your risk of heart disease by 23%. That's enormous. That's significant. And if you sort of look at how that accumulates, there's several ways it accumulates in our bodies. But if you look at men with that sort of, I call it a bowling ball belly. It's that big, hard, round, that's visceral. That's visceral fat.
Visceral fat, yeah.
It's wrapping around the internal organs. It's for every pound of visceral fat, your body has to make 7 miles of blood vessels.
Oh, goodness.
And pump blood through all that. Now, so it's like a separate endocrine system your body has to deal with. But the good news is our bodies are regenerative. So as you start to lose that weight, your body absorbs those blood vessels. So you can reverse it. You can reverse it. An interesting note is ants won't eat margarine.
Interesting, isn't it?
It is, just like chickens won't eat white bread.
What does that tell you?
A lot, doesn't it? So we need to know, what do we do now? We need to know our fat. We need to know our fat. We need to know our salt. We need to know our sugar. There's good and bad. There's good and bad. You need to differentiate. So trans fat, think of trans fat as damaged fat. It's damaged. So it damages your body. So have a mix of saturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, and monounsaturated fat. Like avocados, cheese, dark chocolate, whole eggs, fatty fish that aren't farm raised and given antibiotics, nuts, chia seeds. Now this is interesting. Chia seeds, 100, those teeny tiny little, they look like little balls of air with,
Yes.
100 grams of chia seeds have 31 grams of fat.
Oh, does it?
You would think they didn't have any. Celery has fat. And olive oil. Now, olive oil is phenomenal. I love to drink a tablespoon of olive oil.
Do you?
But it's organic. It's extra virgin, cold pressed. So, not any olive oil will do. This is very good quality olive oil. But you drink it, swallow it, just let it trickle down your throat. And you get a little burn right here. Might even make you cough a little bit. That's really good. Olive oil has an anti-inflammatory property like ibuprofen.
Oh.
But it's not going to kill your liver, So that's a sign that you've got a good olive oil. And of course, you use it in vinaigrettes and low heat cooking. And then you want to use coconut oil for high heat cooking. But I put a tablespoon of organic coconut oil in my porridge, and it melts and it flavors it. You can just have a spoonful of it and just let it dissolve in your mouth and swallow it. If you're doing oil pulling, which is letting all coconut oil dissolve in your mouth and then swishing it around and holding it for 20 minutes or so, pulls toxins out of your mouth. You want to spit that out. Don't swallow that one after.
Brilliant. That's good to know.
But it's very beneficial, these oils. And then full fat yogurt, which is interestingly still very tough to find. I can find organic yogurt and I can find full fat yogurt, but I have a really hard time getting organic full fat yogurt.
Really?
It's not impossible. It's not just not right there on the shelf. So don't just reach for it. Read the label. Make sure it's organic. Make sure it's full fat. Maybe the reason I can't find is everybody's buying up the full fat. I don't know, but it's tough.
Have you tried the health food shops as well?
Yeah, I think the health food shop does have, but they have a very small cold
selection
fridge, so they sell out really quickly. But for ladies, we're designed to have babies. Our body doesn't matter how old we are. Our body's hopeful there's going to be another baby to make. So we hoard fat. So if you're depriving your body of fat and it needs it for your brain and your body functions, it's going to hoard it. It's going to hang on to it because we don't know when we're going to get any more.
Sure.
Give it what you need, the quality fat, and it's not going to store it up. Now, another interesting point is I had a live blood analysis done several years ago.
Okay.
Fascinating. I saw my blood under a slide. I was at 5,000, 15,000 times, what is it? Not amplification. Bigger. What am I trying to say? Magnification.
Yes. I know what you mean.
I saw my individual red blood cells moving around.
Yeah.
Were round as a penny and crystal clear, not transparent clear, but and I could see my white blood cells and I could see other things in there. And the technician showed me a comparative from some other people that she'd seen. Some of the red blood cells were cloudy because they were had high levels of oxidative stress. You could see it on the blood cells. You could see jagged edges. The red blood cells had jagged edges, or they were clumped together. We're trying to maneuver around all the clumps together. So the reason I'm saying that is she also showed me deposits of fungus and just all kinds of stuff. So what we eat, it doesn't just go in one end and go out the other. The good food goes in one end and then it disperses all the nutrients wherever they need to be throughout our body, and then the waste is excreted. But if you're eating rubbish, which is, your body's like, what are we going to do with this? I have to stop doing this vital function to deal with this stuff. We don't even identify it.
Yes.
It's best to break it down, but little bits get left behind. And they accumulate over time. Excuse me, I just need a little drink of water.
So we got to get rid of those toxins, really. That's what you're saying.
Got to get rid of those toxins. So an analogy might be like you empty the bin in the kitchen into a bin liner and you just put it in the corner. A few days later, empty another one, put it in the corner. They're stacking up in the corner. Now you can't get in the cabinet, and maybe you can't get to the fridge or the cooker, and it's an inconvenience at first, and then it's a nuisance. And then, that's all right. You can get around that, but then it starts to smell, and then it starts to give off decay. And now you really need to do something about it. Same thing with our body. You can get away with an awful lot for a long time. But where do cancer cells come from? It takes decades for them to form into, a life-threatening situation. Alzheimer's, something like 37 years before it manifests.
Really?
Then
Okay.
building up, building up, building up.
Hmm.
So, I've worked with any number of people that are fit and healthy, thin, all that, and diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. You've got to know
Yeah.
what's going on inside. You've got to know what's
Yeah.
going on inside.
That's right. Yeah. But you've worked with doctors, haven't you, in America? And they have been proponents of good health, etc. Some of the ones you've been working with. So what have they said? What have they suggested to
Well,
help?
yeah, they use drugs when they're necessary, but the ones that I worked with had those in their arsenal, in their toolbox. But they look through the toolbox and see what's needed for the patient, what's the best interest for the patient. In regards to Alzheimer's, olive oil given to some Alzheimer's patients, and the light goes on. Had they been on a non-fat diet all their life, some of the research suggests that's a contributing factor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting.
So
Okay.
there are lots of things you can do yourself and see, depending on, brain fog, make sure you're having 2 liters of water a day. Make sure you're having a couple tablespoons of either olive oil or coconut oil a day. See if you feel better. You'll know quickly. And then how much processed food and sugar are you eating? Sugar is diabolically toxic.
Yes, we keep
It
hearing
turns
about that all the time, don't we?
what
About
turns
sugar.
into fat, it messes up your gut. 80% of your neurotransmitters are in your gut. We're going to talk about that on the last week, so I don't want to get distracted on that. But find a gym near you, perhaps. Linda's got a great one near her we can recommend. Eat good quality food. You'll need less of it. Your body will reward you. Reduce your sugar and processed foods. Eat fruit for sugar, because when you're consuming the
But
pulp
not a
and the
lot. Yes.
fiber, the pulp and the fiber with the natural juice, your body processes it completely different than if you were to eat sugar or drink fruit juice.
Of
Completely
course.
different. And eat the right bread, which we're going to talk about in 2 weeks.
Right. Well, the time is pretty much gone, but just to sum up, you're saying there's obviously the bad fats, and then there's the good fats, and the good fats you're saying are like olive oil and coconut oil.
For cooking,
Any,
yeah. And then the foods with good fat are avocados,
yes, that's right. We forgot
cheese,
about that.
and
Cheese
try to get
and
organic, whole eggs, dark chocolate, fatty fish that's not farmed. And remember those chia seeds, my goodness, 100 grams, 31 grams of fat. Soak them in water, though. They get stuck between my teeth, so I like to soak them in water. And full fat
Right.
yogurt.
And oh yes, yogurt. We forgot about that one. All right. So we'll just wrap up this session. So appreciate your time and the information you've shared with us today. As we said, this is a 4-part series. So we're going to be, today we did busting myths on fat. Hopefully you got some value out of that. We'll also be discussing next week, Thursday. So every Thursday, 7:30 GMT, 2:30 Eastern. We will be talking about various aspects about health. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about glutathione and the myths behind that and
Good
what's
one.
involved there. So it's a very intriguing topic, very interesting. So I want to thank you very much today, Patricia. If you'd like to get in touch with myself, let's see, I'll put the email address here, and I can pass on any questions to Patricia if you have any further questions to ask. And yes, we shall go from there. So we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Linda.
Same time, same place. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Patricia, for your help.
Thank you, Linda.